I have less of an idea of what I want to say in this video log. I suppose it's, I don't know, more like a weather report. I felt a sadness for hours today, greater than I recall having ever, except maybe when I was reading for the first time A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. Maybe 6 years ago. I have no idea if Zinn felt that sadness as he spent, it must have been years writing that book and looking head on at the foundations of our way of life. Oh, it's such a shame. We've been so inoculated against looking at this honestly. So what I've said and what I'm about to say, you'll probably instantly dismiss reflexively as negative, pessimistic, unrealistic. Oh well. So actually, I know of nothing in Zinn's writing or in his demeanor in the last years of his life where he was on my radar screen and I saw videos and whatnot. I know nothing in his demeanor that suggested that he did feel that sadness. But I certainly did in reading the book. And evermore my eyes see the truth of our culture. Yes, of course, you'll have to decide whether I'm seeing the truth or delusion. In what's an enjoyable musical, there's a scene that I found unique. The Fantastics is the musical. The scene is, I don't know if I'll remember the name of the song. It's very fantastical. The whole musical, the whole story weaves around a young man and a young woman moving into relationship. In this very fantastical scene / song, the young man is on a life path fraught with huge pain. And she, for excitement, has moved away from the young man and is in the presence of Gallo, is his name, the narrator / quasi-dark figure in this musical. And it's as though they're on a ride, some sort of transportation. And he is pointing out to her all these visual delights to look at in maybe a city with lots of monuments. And every once in a while they'll pass by this young man who's in great pain. He's been somewhat disguised, so she doesn't recognize him, but she sees the pain. And Gallo, upon seeing that, says, "Put on the mask, put on the mask." One of these like old French type masks on a stick where you put it up and, oh, I see, and then her mind instantly sees it with a pretty face. Well, I was taught to put on the mask my whole life. These stories don't come out of thin air, musicals and whatnot. The authors are trying to show us the truth. The mask is something that our nervous system happily does. It's not too hard to tease it into doing it. We're led to see by that scene in the Fantastics, and as the story unfolds, she found the distraction of the mask very comforting, much more pleasant than looking at the pain, the agony of the young man. But by the end of the story, she had selected her life to proceed without the mask. It's understandable. We actually don't do it in our society. But it was believable in this very fanciful musical. The video is worth watching. The Fantastics. I was always aware of the mask, not in such graphic terms. And in the recent decade or so, I've chosen to remove the mask as when I could find it as much as I could. I'm sorry? I don't know, friend. I think it was probably part of an old transportation system. You know, maybe getting into the Senate building or maybe down into subways. I'm not sure. Yep, I don't know. You may, In the meantime, I'm shooting a video log, but get your friend and come on over. Yeah. What? No. As I say, the tape's running, so if you want to get your friend, Yep. Hurry up now.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome, friend. Take care now. In the same way, it was not only believable, but to be expected if one thought of it, that this woman selected life without the mask. I finally found the courage to follow that part of my nervous system. I found that courage by about a dozen years ago, and have been keeping the mask away from my eyes because life isn't to be found in illusion. Pleasure is a type of life experiences, but not life. Sorry for the analogy. Some people find life in watching sports teams. Others find life by being on the field of play. Life is to be found, the intensest, realest most passionate life is to be found on the field of play. That's where I want it to be. That's where I've placed myself. That's where I place myself more firmly all the time. And with eyes that are becoming more acute as a result of this journey, I see almost no beauty and almost entirely ugliness around me. The Republican cold-heartedness, the Democratic hypocrisy. I just came from a Catholic church. Every Wednesday night they provide a dinner. It's by societal standards, it's very nice. By societal standards, it's very nice. There must be 30 people that spend their whole Wednesday afternoon and evening preparing and serving food to probably 100 of we homeless, almost all African American, are the clients, almost all white, are the parishioners. By societal standards, it's very nice, and I experience it as nice. It's a nice meal. It must be spring break because there were a bunch of college kids around. They were, by societal standards, extremely nice. Like I was. Hugely overprivileged kids, probably not as overprivileged as I was. Among the nicest of the overprivileged kids. The evil of the system. Why are they overprivileged kids? They're a million miles from where they think they are in being sisters and brothers to the homeless. Hundreds of thousands of dollars away. They are the city folk of Hunger Games. We, if you're listening to this video, the 3 or 4 or 5 of you that might, you are the city folk of Hunger Games. I didn't just condemn you. And I'm sure that even if you don't hear what I just said with offense, that your rational mind says, no, I'm not. Yes, by every objective measure. Well, I've been swimming in a fairly clear vision of this ugliness for, well, on and off since I was a kid, but much of the time with various masks on. And in the last dozen years, not with blinders on, but with tunnel vision. So looking at Darfur or looking at Ecocide, looking at our planned bombing of Iran 4 years ago. And the ugliness associated with those horrors where people wouldn't stand up. But now I see it more, I see it systemically. I see almost no goodness, almost no sanity. And by God, that's simply clear eyes, that's simply honesty. So easily will be dismissed. What I'm saying is, oh, depression, pessimism. No, it's honesty. It's sanity, it's clarity. Boy, this is so oblique, but it brings to a final thought I'd like to share, if it doesn't sidetrack you because it's so oblique. I remember Patton was famous for saying, "God, I love war." I don't believe that Patton loved the dying of his men or the killing of others. I think he was horrified by it. I know nothing to suggest he was a twisted sadist. But it comes to mind because the other part of my experience in more recent hours today is coming back to a realization. God, I love trying to make this world better. Patton had, I suspect, both the features of hating war and loving fighting for what he thought was right. I hate Earth. I hate what we've done to it. I hate what we do to each other. Everyone loses. Totally, completely. Everyone loses. Totally, is losing. Totally, completely. But I love fighting to make it better. I have no sense that I will mind leaving this God-forsaken place. But I will mind leaving the fight. I will mind not being here to help.